Hey everybody, welcome to Vito DINO, the podcast that talks about comics and everything else we like. This is episode 39. My name is Vito Delsante. His name is Dean Haspiel.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dean Haspiel.
And he's got a guest.
Who's that? Who's that behind me? Next to me.
Hey, it's Dan Goldman.
Hey, everybody. It's Dan Goldman.
Nice to see you, everybody. Thanks for coming out.
Returning champion.
That's right.
The first returning.
Am I really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You're the first repeat. And why are you here, Dan?
Why am I here? Well, I'm in New York. I'm in the physical world with Dean. We're going to be at New York Comic Con together. And then we're going to be at Baltimore next week together.
We're doing a tour like a band, like a two-man band.
Like a duo.
In a band.
A two-city tour.
Two city, two people, four wheels. Though.
Right.
You know?
Lead guitar, rhythm guitar.
No, I'm drums. I'm drums, baby.
No.
Or the keytar. I'm either drums or keytar.
Skinny tie.
Who, me?
Skinny tie.
Or skinny tie.
Is it really?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. And look at this, Vito. I'm going to be promoting for the people on YouTube.
There you go.
That?
I'm going to be doing antimatter. Oh, you got show them. You got a couple things right there.
Yeah.
Currently,
so that's what we're doing. As you know, we're going to New York Comic Con for 4 days. We're sharing a table, and I'm going to be selling my deep cut comics, the 4 that I've already published, and then going to be promoting Antimatter, which is my new comics Kickstarter that we talked about last week. And see everybody and hang out and do and be completely exhausted by tomorrow afternoon.
So this episode will be out on Monday, as always. We are recording on Wednesday, so the Kickstarter started yesterday. How is it going so far?
I believe we've made about half of my initial funding goal
in one day.
Like around, I don't know, $4,500 yet, but it's pretty special. Let me just quickly see. Where is it? It is, I'll tell you exactly. We're at 120 backers, $4,467 of a pledged $9,000 goal. But as we know, we want to double that goal. You know what I'm saying?
Always.
So, and Dan,
yeah,
what are you pimping?
Oh, what am I pimping? I'm here with my hardcover, Red Light Properties hardcover unfinished business, and a bunch of other stuff. So I've got vandalism stickers, and I have real estate flyers for haunted real estate.
That's genius.
Look real. It all looks real, but
look at this. Sorry, where's my finger? Yeah. Look at this dude right here. Holy man, that's what's happening to me right now, Vito.
The hair.
I'm just losing the hair right at the top here. I'll be joining you soon, Vito.
But he knows where his glasses are.
He does. Yeah, I lost my glasses before we started this podcast.
But I'm here with that, and then I have over on the table too. I mean, I could show you, but they'll be sold out by the time this airs. But my lovely wife Lily went through my big box of Star Trek figures that I've been schlepping around for like fucking decades, and she drilled holes in some of their heads and made like charms that you can wear, little Star Trek figures on your from different generations, I might add. They were all like curated, and she so I have like 10 handmade charms that are going to go to some lucky people.
Hey Vito,
you're not selling them? You're giving them away?
No, I'm selling them.
Oh, you're selling
them, but whoever buys them will be lucky.
Vito, does your daughter wear like tchotchkes?
No, she makes bracelets with beads, like these right here.
Oh, okay.
It's funny. She just made one for one of the girls in her class, and they traded. And like the girl gave her like keychains, a mini poster, and a couple other things. And I was like, "Wait, you only gave her one bracelet, and she gave you all that?"
That's pretty cool.
That's New Brooklyn right there.
I love it. It is trading, trading, and depending on what the value is, you just make it up. Yeah. So, absolutely. All right. So
let me ask you a question.
Yes.
What comic book character do you think has made the most appearances in comics ever?
Batman.
Dean, what do you think?
Dan says Batman. My gut was going to say Spider-Man.
So,
but it would be either Batman or Spider-Man.
It's Batman.
I have your list. and it starts. It's a 15 character list that I can also list the number of appearances if you're ready for it.
Okay.
Number 15 is Wonder Woman with 6,239. The Hulk.
I'm out. Can you explain this again? Appearances, you mean outside of their own comic or
No,
including their
in
own?
like in comics in general, I believe like in Justice League, in the Avengers, in like individual issues, in miniseries and stuff like that.
So every appearance, every okay, got it.
Yeah, because when you hear the number for the number one, you're going to be like, that's not even possible. But when you think about it, it totally is. So Wonder Woman 6,239, Hulk 6,292, Iceman 6,000.
Iceman.
Of all
Iceman
people.
beats the Hulk.
Yeah, Iceman has 6,457. And then at number 12, Dick Grayson, which means Robin and Nightwing. He's got 6,473. The next one at number 11 is Thor with 6,582 appearances.
These are all in the 6,000 range.
We're about to change.
About to.
Okay. All right.
Number 10 is The Thing at 6,667. 6667. Okay.
Mm.
Now we jump to number 9 to 7,941. The Beast from the X-Men. It's got
Over the Thing and Thor.
Yeah, because of the Avengers, the Defenders, the Beast, Dazzler miniseries, you know, and then the X-Men in general, you know, like
Wow,
and
yeah.
X Factor as well. So
And most of these are Marvel characters so far.
yeah,
Most,
so far.
not all, but most of them.
Now we're gonna jump about 100 to number 8, which is Storm with 8,051 appearances.
Can I guess? Can I guess what's coming up?
Sure.
Is the Human Torch, because he did a ton.
Human Torch isn't on this list.
Not even on the list.
No.
Interesting.
So we ended with Storm just now at number 8. Number 7 is Iron Man with a lot less than you think. 8,988. That I mean, I know that's a lot compared to like Wonder Woman with 6,200, but when you think Iron Man, like he's everywhere, but he's not. After Iron Man, or before him, I guess because I'm going in descending order, is Cyclops with 9,202. So Iron Man was 8,988. Iron Man was like almost 300. I mean, Cyclops is almost 300 more appearances.
And basically the leader of the X-Men, so that is a reason, you know, obviously.
Next number, so this is the top 5. Captain America with 9,444.
Makes sense.
Peter Parker, Spider-Man, and all his other iterations, you know, like when he's been, you know, somebody else or whatever, and What If and whatever. This is incredible. 12,546. Cap was 9,500 basically. And Spider-Man is almost 3,000 more.
Almost 3,000 more. But I picked him as 1. So, and that was the third one or fourth one?
That is number 4. The top 3 are Wolverine with 13,285. Number 2 is Superman with 14,195. And then number 1, as Dan said, is Batman with 15,781 appearances as of the date of that video that I sent you. Isn't that incredible? 15,000. He hasn't even been in 1,000 issues of his own comic, but he's been in 15,000 plus comics.
Right. That is crazy because I always felt that they would use Spider-Man to get you to read a new comic book.
Yeah.
Or you know, the flagship title for Marvel was the Fantastic Four, but I believe the first issue of Amazing Spider-Man is him trying to join the FF and not. And then so they kind of use that as a crutch, right, to get you to Spider-Man from Amazing Fantasy, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But then I feel like with Marvel team-ups and everything else. But
you would think,
you would think, but not fourth. He'd be second or first.
You would think,
I mean,
Superman, though.
Since we're doing this, what puts Batman so far ahead is that there's a huge amount of Batman miniseries. And spin-offs and like so Batman's his own industry.
It's the same with Wolverine.
It was like a no-brain. For sure. But there is DC has made a fucking lunch out of Batman miniseries for
Yeah.
decades.
Yeah, he's like their
So that's
franchise.
why the numbers are higher.
Yeah.
And also Dan used to work at DC Comics,
Yeah.
so he might have access to earlier numbers.
Yeah.
I mean,
Every day
like
get
I
an
said,
email, be like, dude, we got to keep Batman's gonna be on top, man.
Yeah. When they want to know more about
what Batman comic is coming out this week? You need three.
We need 3 Batmans.
He's got to be in JLA, Batman, Detective. What else you got?
What else we got? What we got? Let's do a crossover with the Hulk.
Yeah.
He's going to show up in Nightwing. He's going to show up in Robin. He's going to show up in Batgirl. You know
That's
what I mean?
right.
Like, that's really where the numbers get, inflated.
We'll get him with a couple of outsiders. We'll get him with some outsiders.
And then he'll have 3 different miniseries running at the same time.
Same
like,
time.
You know, the
Elseworlds.
Circle of Ravens and, whatever.
But yeah, like Elseworlds and like What Ifs. And then you got to put in like the line wide like crossovers like Crisis on Earth, Secret Wars, stuff like that.
I think Batman sucks.
And
As a character, I just don't. I hate him actually. I don't.
You mean Batman, Bruce Wayne, all together?
It's just the idea of like rich fascist white man dressing as a rodent. I fuck it. I think he sucks. I hate Batman.
Well, when you put it like that,
Who would like him?
He's just he's just an arm of the establishment.
he is a conflicted character for me.
It's funny because
yeah.
He's conflicted, or you're conflicted about him?
I'm conflicted about him. Well, he is also, to be nice, I'd say he's a conflicted character, but I'm conflicted about him too because there's a lot of what's not contrast when something doesn't contradictions. There's a lot of contradictions to Batman.
Well, what's funny? When you look at the creators of Superman, they were 2 poor Jewish kids from Cleveland, and it kind of informs what they were creating a little bit. I mean, some of it's fantasy, some of it is. I think Jerry Schuster's dad was shot in the chest and killed when he was like young. So like the whole idea of being bulletproof is like wish fulfillment for him. Then
that's really sad. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then you look at Batman, and Bob Kane stole everything from Bill Finger and Jerry Robinson. Basically, he was like like I discussed last week or the week before, like his father made sure that he got all of the credit for creating Batman by lying about Bob Kane's age. So like, privileged, and it kind of shines through in a sense.
It's weird. I totally got when Frank Miller drew an older, grizzled Batman in the Dark Knight story, right? Because he got older and maybe he kind of didn't even kind of quit being Batman for a while or something. And then, but what that did spawn was a lot of grisly, gigantic, thick Batman, kind of comics, right? And I always was conflicted with that idea. As much as that's fun and cool to draw, it doesn't make sense for the Bruce Wayne side of that character for me. Because if he's going to board meetings and everything, he looks like, John Cena. I don't know why that conflicts with my idea of what Bruce Wayne is supposed to look like.
Wow, Bruce,
he comes into work looking like he was at Fight Club every day.
Exactly.
It just doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't make any sense. So,
wow, Bruce, whoa,
swole Bruce. So did we have a couple of topics before we?
That was mine.
Because that's what he's promoting is red light properties with the beautiful slipcase.
Yeah, I've already been on this.
And we already talked about this. So he's in town to do that, and then then the weekend after will be Baltimore Comic-Con, and I'm going to be on 3 panels, and you're going to be on 3 panels.
I'm also on 3 panels.
On 3 panels. So
that should be fun. I'm jealous about Baltimore. Mark Chiarello is going to be there.
Who?
Mark Chiarello is going to be at Baltimore.
I know.
And I'm
like, you can still come in.
We'll see.
Okay.
Do you have a special relationship with Mark Chiarello?
Mark, I would say as much as Dean and as much as maybe to a lesser extent Mark Waid, Mark Chiarello really was instrumental in a lot of my working at DC, being a very vocal champion for my work and stuff. I owe Mark a lot, I would say. As much as I owe Dean, I would say maybe less so Mark Waid, but Mark Waid has always been one with a kind word and advice. So I always kind of keep him in that mentor type of relationship.
So I don't have the details in front of me, but I sent you an email. They just announced today the
Yes,
Kirby's,
yes,
uh,
the Jack and Roz Kirby Awards.
the Jack and Ross Kirby Awards, because there was a Kirby's. I think it only lasted 1 year, like eons ago.
And I'm pretty sure the Kirby's were the San Diego Awards that then got split into the Harveys and the Eisners. Like, I don't
Okay.
know why they split the one award into two, but I believe that's what the origin of the Kirby Awards
But
were.
why would they split? Like, I don't think they split like a Kirby and then decided, oh, now I'm going to call it a Harvey and an Eisner. I feel like they came in and the Kirby's kind of went away, is what
I
I
think it was
think.
more like the conventions wanted their own, and somebody wanted their own award ceremonies, so they created maybe the Eisners, and then
Sure.
somebody else was like, "Well, I'm going to create, the
Right.
Harveys, or whatever." But yeah, I
Right.
would say
Right.
that's probably closer.
Do you think by episode 50, you and I are going to create an award for our podcast?
I would like to, like looking, it's now episode 39, so we're looking, not too far away. By episode 52, which would be our year, I
Hmm.
want to I want to award like
Mm.
awards, maybe not physical awards right now, maybe some kind of certificate of accomplishment or something.
Sure,
Or a
something.
no
Like,
prize.
A no
yeah,
prize.
basically, like Dan
Can
Goldman
I
gets
name it?
Dan
Can I
Goldman
name?
gets the most beautiful looking slipcase award.
There you go.
You know what I
Oh,
mean? Something like
that's
that.
very
That's what I
sweet.
would. That's what I would
Mm.
say.
So when I first met Danny Hellman,
Hmm.
local, New York cartoonist, one of the things he used to host it at a bar. Oh God, what was it called? It was on the Lower East Side, and
Was it
like
the Pink Pony?
not the Pink Pony next to it.
Oh my
It
God,
was right next
I
to
know
it.
the name of it.
And
Max Fish.
Max Fish.
Hmm.
Thank you. That's where I met Grant Morrison, Nick Bertozzi, like a bunch of people were at these gatherings, right? And the one he was doing like it was like golden poop. It was like a curl of dog poop that had been painted gold. And he did the individual type of prizes where, it wasn't like a general like best comic, best writer kind of thing or best artist. It was very individualized. And because he knew I was coming, he made an award for me, which I can't remember what it was right now, and I wish I did.
Do you still
But
have it?
I must have it somewhere,
Hmm.
like I didn't throw it away, But I love that idea of creating an award that's very specific.
Mhm.
So it's not like there wasn't even a competition. It
No,
really
no,
was just going
exactly.
toward that person.
Well, you could give out what looks like a plastic bottle, but it looks like a golden little wine bottle.
Right?
And the name of the award is the Vino,
Oh,
because it's a bottle of wine, but it's
Vino.
you guys
You know,
named.
you know.
And then, well, it could be. Oh, the Vino's good.
It's good,
Yeah.
right?
What if it was like a bottle of like you said, but at the bottom is like a pair of balls or something.
I mean,
I don't know that.
Speaking of, but yes, I'm excited by the Jack Kirby or the Jack and Roz Kirby Awards.
I believe they were going to be presented at the original Art Expo, which is not a quote unquote popular convention,
But it's in Orlando, Florida,
I was going to say it's in Florida. So,
and it's going to be February 20th to 22nd. And my mom lives in Florida, and I think that she's pretty near Orlando, and MC Search lives in Orlando, and it might be fun to maybe go to that show, check out these awards, and check out the show.
my mom
So
lives in Hackensack.
Florida.
No, you don't get the reference. That's
I
from the
was saying
first.
New Jersey.
Yeah.
It's from the first Superman movie where Miss Teschmacher says to Lex Luthor, "My mom lives in Hackensack," and he looks at his watch and he goes, "No."
Oh my God, I gotta see that again.
Cold-blooded.
I gotta. So when the reason why I brought up balls
Oh, please, let's go back to that.
or testicles is going to lead into the thing that I wanted to bring up briefly. Starting though with the fact that this is the second time, and the first time I asked you to switch it, but if you see a little bit of a hint of your lamp for the YouTube people watching, it's like a shadow of your lamp, right? But and if you were to move it up,
Oh, you mean
wouldn't see it
here?
anymore in the camera,
Yes.
right? So on Instagram,
Oh, yeah.
there it is. It's like a pair of nuts just dangling, like
Or just
Sure.
one.
So you
so,
can-
and
Hi,
now
everybody.
it's bring
Hey,
that's
everybody,
kinda cool.
welcome to the show.
I love it.
Wow,
Vito.
I feel like I'm your dentist now.
But there's a great profile on Instagram that got kind of shut down, but it's archived. It's called Nutscape. Do yourself a favor and check out Nutscape. And what it is beautiful landscapes. But if you happen to notice at the very tippy top of the picture is a silhouette of nuts, of male testicles.
Yeah.
And there's something kind of beautiful about that, actually.
I appreciate that you I appreciate that you're sensitive to the beauty of
Thank you.
You
the
could
male
have waited
body.
till November when it was Cancer Awareness Month.
Well, okay, we can bring it up again.
What's the color? What's the color of that ribbon?
What is the color of that ribbon?
Blue, probably.
Blue.
Everybody's wearing breast cancer awareness colors now.
Right.
I saw I was on the
Pink for
train and
October,
it was like, yeah.
Oh, and before we go into the second half of Nutscape and Instagram,
Oh fuck, there's more.
any thoughts and feelings about arriving this morning in New York? And
Yeah, okay, thanks for asking that.
Yeah.
It was fun. It's been a couple of years, and I'm in I had all these books with me, so I took an Uber from the airport, and I'm coming down the BQE, and of course I'm in traffic, and I'm looking out the window, and I just had this feeling of like not feeling like I was home, but feeling like I'd never left.
Mm.
Which happens to me a lot of the time when I come here, and it's nice, it's comforting. The changes in the city, like when I kind of pop in and out, you're more aware of them.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's rougher now.
It's
It feels rougher to me.
yeah,
And,
it's
but it's nice to be here too.
it's hard to put a finger on. But like from an outsider's point of view who goes to New York every couple of months or so, at least twice a year, it seems like it's all centered on the subway. And I mean, like the subways cost too much now, like to get on and ride. And it seems like there's a active revolt against paying fares and stuff. And all I'm going by is what I see on Instagram, like on the New Yorkers Instagram profile. That's just where it seems like nobody wants to pay that much money, and then they're forced to, and then it's just like, well, if you're coming down into hell, you're going to have to meet the devil. Like it's so like it's so weird. Like it seems like everybody Ubers now, and everybody like doesn't take public transportation anymore because it's too expensive.
My first train ride this morning, from here into the city to get this haircut. I'm sitting there, and it was like the greatest hits of New York subway ride. I actually was taking notes. This guy was having a meltdown. It was kind of intense, kind of specific. Not really going to get into it here, but it was like upsetting. He was upsetting everybody on the train. He was talking to a woman that wasn't there, and then it veered from like misogyny into racism, and it got like really dark. Anyway, eventually he got off the train, and immediately two guys came in, and it was showtime, and the speaker came on, and next thing I know, I've almost been kicked in the face 5 times, and then they left, and then my stop came up, and I was like, welcome back to New York.
That's right.
You must have like
it was like
you got to your stop.
It was like the cliff notes of New York subway ride.
Speaking of a couple of weeks ago, and I don't Uber. I rarely take a car or taxi, but I do bike a lot, as you know, and I've even biked to Manhattan because it's just sometimes better than taking the damn subway, if the subway's even working that night, or that day. But there was a woman on the train recently that I just had to write down what I saw and what happened. It says F train. And this is what I wrote. A blonde homeless woman wearing a light blue t-shirt with the word God written on her chest let everyone know her name was Wizard, but you can call her Tony. Then she asked for money, and when she got none, she damned everyone to hell with the impending apocalypse. And that's what happened that day in the train. So,
so Tuesday.
It was like a Tuesday, basically. Yeah. And
I like when subway rides get metaphysical. When there are people claiming to have magical powers in the train with you, and suddenly you have to defend yourself on that level is really interesting. I wrote a whole story about it on my newsletter, and months ago, maybe a year ago. But that was my best like magic fight on the subway.
Oh, okay.
So I've had a few.
So real quick, because you're serializing or you're writing literature on your Substack. Vito,
not on Substack, but on my newsletter.
On your newsletter, it wasn't it? It was.
I was on Substack like 2 years ago, but then
okay.
Yeah, no, it's just like I don't want to support that platform.
Okay, so Vito is a writer, and you're writing a novel, right? Were you planning just trying to sell the book all together, or were you going to try and serialize yours?
No, I'm going to serialize it as soon as it's done. I'm going to serialize it on Substack or whatever platform I end up going to, just because I'm aware of the problematic nature of Substack currently. And right now, I haven't found Patreon would be the only other one, but like I don't really, like I don't know. It's like 6 1/2 dozen of another. Like it's not like it doesn't feel any different.
But despite the platforms, what's your feelings briefly about serializing, text, like a whole bunch of text?
I mean, I'm not. I feel like we're at a stage where I had a weird thought today, and the thought was like I was looking at I don't know exactly what it was. It might have been like an independent publisher that's basically a self-publisher, or something a little bit bigger than that, and like just like how it was like they've made some kind of announcement, maybe in light of New York Comic Con, something like, oh, so and so is going to be writing like this title, and this title, and in my head I'm like, why don't people just like call me, like because like I was like that's gonna tank. Like you can't like just like throw all your money behind that, and not do it yourself. Like call me and I'll edit for you, and you'll maybe have a decent chance to like know what's going on or something, and then I just got into my brain about it, and I was like, you know what, you can't, you physically cannot write everything, just like like you can't even, you barely write your own stuff, that kind of thing, right? And then going into what you're saying, it's like, but I want to write as much as I can, and I think the only thing that I wouldn't say it's my hang up about giving stuff away for free is just that I'm going to write something else. You know what I mean? Like, what am I doing? Sitting on it? Like, why am I going to look for a publisher for it? I might as well just get it all out there. And then, like, maybe that speaks to my abilities as much as me saying, why don't people hire me? You know what I mean? Like,
it's a weird thing because you're talking kind of like that knee-jerk jealousy of like, oh,
right.
So and so figure out how to brand themselves because they've probably put asses in seats.
Right.
They want to keep hiring that person, and now they're doing 3 or 4 books a month. I mean, we've discussed how Charles Soule, I think, did 7 books a month at one point, and was a lawyer, a daytime lawyer, which was crazy. But my question more is, and maybe this leads to the bigger answer, is when do you find time as a dad who has a job that's making comics to write a novel? When do you find the time for that? And then when you were saying something a little bit about holding on to ideas, but you say, what the hell, just to put it in there. I don't know if this is true for you, but the amount of times I've held onto a nugget of an idea and I went, oh, I got to develop it. And it just sits there. Sits there. And I'm doing all this other stuff. And sometimes I find an opportunity to just grab the idea and say, you know what? I can't figure it out. I'm going to put it over here. And suddenly it works because you put it with the other stuff. Did that happen to you?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I was listening to, and they were talking about it. Oh my God. I was listening to a podcast with, I think it was Mark Maron. He was interviewing somebody. God, I'm tired. I'm sorry, everybody.
Oh, you're good.
But talking about having the right kind of project that you can. Oh, it was Matt Groening.
Oh, he just interviewed. I haven't heard it yet.
It's on that talk with Mark Maron, and he talks about how anything that was bothering him in his life, it's like you have a soup pot that you could just throw things in, and they become part of that mix of that
Yeah.
soup, right? And for him, it was The Simpsons, and then it was Futurama, and so on and so on. But like, you if you don't have that, to continue the metaphor, that soup pot, then everything's going to feel separate. But like if you have something that's like always boiling, and you can just throw an ingredient in and see how it reacts to the rest of everything else that you're thinking about. I think that's really interesting. And like red light properties is becoming that for me. But back to what you were saying before, to the question. So I think like sometimes it works like that for me, but sometimes the idea doesn't want to play with other ideas.
Yeah.
And it'll sit out, or I'll back burner it for a while. And like I just started publishing, serializing a new novella on my newsletter. And that's something that I had back burnered, and it wouldn't stay quiet. It wouldn't leave me alone. And it just kept coming up, and it kept coming up. And I'm like, either there's something psychologically in me that needs to deal with this, or there's something metaphysical outside of me that needs me to deal with it.
Right.
And I'm kind of in the middle now I'm kind of accepting both of those. But I just figured, like, fuck it. I'm going to take a couple months, and I'm just going to knock this whole thing out. And when I'm done, I can publish it as a book, but it's, I put up one chapter, and I'm posting the second chapter this Sunday. And yeah, so far I think it's pretty good.
I think my answer to what you were saying, Dean, is more like, I know for a fact I'll never get to, not never get to finish, but never get to see the final iteration of whatever I'm working on, because I'm working on so much at the same time that something else is going to always take precedence. Um, for example, I'm currently kind of doing like this brain exercise of, for years, I've had this idea of doing stories that take place in decades. So like an 80-page giant story that takes place completely encapsulating the 50s, or completely encapsulating the 60s or 70s or whatever. So I've just been kind of like lately working out, what are the 80s stories? What are the 90s? Like, what is the zeitgeist? What was the prevalent thinking? Like the other day, I started looking at it's the 20th century. So it's like the tens. I was like, thinking about World War One, and just thinking about like, all right, because I like superheroes. What is a pulp hero that joins, the Allied forces against, Germany in World War One? What's the difference between the fight on like a docks versus trench warfare? Like
Right.
what kind of, like, that's got to be traumatizing, as
Right.
much as, like you think you saw, like the idea that not the idea, but the scene that I came up with the other day was, he was in the trench and this German comes in and he's trying to like stab him, and he could see in his eyes that he's lost humanity. He's a savage, and like the thinking that comes out of it is, to win a war, you have to become a savage. You have to become a murderer. And he juxtaposes that with a flashback to fighting somebody in an alley. And it's like, it's just a guy who was desperate, like it wasn't like this guy just got caught up in the wrong thing. And it's not anything like what he's experienced before.
I love that contrast. I love,
Yes.
and actually, when you mentioned that savage, all I did was I blinked and I thought about Jorge Savino's depiction of the Punisher.
Yeah.
Breaking someone's neck, and you don't see him breaking the neck. That's what he's about to do, but he chose to go to his eyes, to Punisher's eyes.
That was in that graphic novel.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great book.
It's incredible.
I love that
It's
one.
incredible.
I had that one.
Yeah.
So I know that, like with Stray and with Underboss and with a couple of the other projects, those Pay the Devil especially, those are the more on the front burner. These are all back burner things that, like, I'm just, to keep my mind occupied while art's being worked on, basically.
You said something interesting. You said something about how, did you say like you won't see all your work finished?
Yeah, I
completed?
don't think any of us will.
I think that's true for all of us. But what's interesting in your case is that in comics, you need an artist. And let's say you were to write a 4-issue miniseries, right?
Yeah.
And the script's pretty much written, and the first issue is done, and then you die. My question is, not my question, but like, I guess what could be interesting is that the artist could finish it. Something that
Theoretically,
you never would
absolutely.
see, you know, like
I mean,
that's an interesting, because I
I
think about Seth
consider,
Kushner right now, or Buddy Seth, right?
yeah, I think about all of my co-creators as my co-creators. So yeah, they like, it's funny. The other day, Sean Isaacs had reached out to me. Sean, co-creator of Stray,
Yep.
and currently working on one of the Superman KO, the DC KO miniseries or event, whatever you want to call it. He's working on the Superman one, which is I'm very happy for him. But he reached out to me. He goes, I'm working on these layouts for the fourth Stray story, like, and I was wondering if I could post them, like as I was like, you're the co-creator. You don't need to ask my permission. I appreciate that you do, but like, I'm just curating. We're both the ones that created this thing.
No, I get that, and I get what you're saying, but at the same time, just for like sneak peek purposes,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can understand asking permission, as it were,
I hadn't
But
thought of that, but yeah, you're right.
that's all. And I was going to mention real quick, because I was using the equation of like you writing something you don't see finished, with a collaborator. I always think about that comic that Seth Kushner wrote, that George Foles drew,
Mhm.
the first issue of 4, I think, that Darwin Cook did the cover for,
Yeah,
and then died soon after.
Was it called The Nose?
I think
yeah.
it was either called The Nose,
Roman knows.
the Roman Nose,
The Roman Nose.
the
That was
Roman
good.
Nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good stuff. So, and I'm in touch with George Foles,
Yeah, me
still.
too.
Yeah,
I did a book that never came out with George.
really.
Yeah. You want to read it?
Yeah. Wait, what is it?
It's called Dandelion. It was the first issue of the
Oh,
series.
I think I have seen it. I remember that.
Yeah,
Great.
it was never printed. I love
No,
that
but
story, and
she must send me a PDF or something.
I
Anyway,
really would love to continue it someday. I mean, we had certainly 6 issues like plotted,
right,
and another 6 like where it would go.
right,
It's a cool story.
right, right. Well,
Anyway,
before we get into, and maybe we will play with Dan on the verses.
I want to actually read a quote from
that was a
somebody.
no. I'm not allowed to play.
I want to read a quote from somebody.
Vito vetoed me.
Vito vetoed.
Oh, no. I have this sheet of paper that I've carried with me for years. You can see it's worn over here, and it's kind of like writing advice or inspiration. One of them is a story by Greg Rucka. One of them is a quote from J.M. DeMatteis that he told me in person once, and the other one was a quote from another writer, actually a cartoonist, writer, artist. He said, "Don't ever stop writing and dreaming, and you'll see soon enough that they actually did you a favor. You have to kill the fanboy in order to become the writer." You know who said that to me?
Who?
Dan Goldman.
Dan Goldman said that?
Yeah, I did.
Oh snap!
Yeah,
That's
Dan,
nice. I'm on a piece of paper with James DeMatteis, and
wow,
that's
Greg
pretty
Rucka.
cool.
Yeah, no, that's I keep it by my desk whenever I'm like.
Yeah, thank you.
anything.
That's
Oh
very
no,
that's very touching.
I think I should have brought it up when you were on the show the last time, but I think now it's just as good as any.
Killed the fanboy, and what was
In
it?
order
Killed
to
the
become
fanboy.
to become the writer.
To become the writer.
Yeah, well, because it's really, what I guess I meant, and I remember saying that to you, but that was like 20 something years ago.
Yeah.
But
This is a yellow piece of paper, by the way. So,
but
yes.
the idea of I think just you let go of hero worship to be a hero,
Yeah.
like to be your own hero. I guess is maybe a more articulate way of saying that.
Yeah, I always took it as, there's these elements of my personality or my writing or my voice, I should say, that brought me to the dance, let's say, that brought me to the door of it. And then there's elements of my work that have pushed the door open. But the problem is, how do you keep the door, how do you, get in through the door? I've always made the metaphor that I got my foot in the door, but they're doing all they can to close it on my foot. You know what I mean? So my foot's right there, but like it's always doing that. And I think, when I read that, what you wrote, I always think it doesn't matter if I try to get into that room or that house or whatever. It doesn't I don't need to be in there to call myself a writer or an author. I can just write and, publish and be a creator, be creative.
I mean, the truth is you are the door.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I like, yeah.
You are the door into your own world, your own universe.
Yeah. I like, I wanted to share that only because, you're on the show, number one, but number two, and I wanted to see if you remembered, but number two, like,
I do remember that.
we always try to dole out like little tidbits of inside baseball kind of
Yeah.
how do we make
That's nice.
how do we make the
Yep.
sausage?
Just like rewinding a minute, you were talking, Vito, about not living to see the full extent of your work. And I was on the plane and I was doing math, thinking about red light properties because like I'm 51 and uh, I made a little note to myself because I was thinking about I've been kind of conceiving the series as the book that I just published is like volume one, and I was thinking it like 7, 8 volumes. And so doing math, I was like, well, right now I'm doing 3 pages a week, 3 pages. So then how many pages is that a year? It's like 152. How many pages are in one of those books? Over 300. So we're looking at each hardcover is 2+ years.
Yeah.
And then so 2+ years times, and so I was like, could I tell the whole story in 5 years, in 5 books, which is, you know, 11, 12 years maybe? Uh, Math, not my strong suit. But like what, how long am I going to be able to work on this? Of course, we have no, I mean, there could be a war, there could be
Right.
another pandemic, who knows, right? But I'd re I'd really like to get to the end of something like that,
Yeah.
have it stand, um, for somebody, I don't know, maybe for the cockroaches that follow our society, I don't know, but
I, to speak to that, I think that knowing how a story ends or an idea, a big idea, how it ends, is important to the current stories you're doing with
Mhm.
with that idea.
Yeah,
But knowing an ending, and then when you know the ending, sometimes you don't even ever do that ending because a new ending happens. And
right.
like I was sharing with you earlier, an idea I have for Billy Dogman Jane Legit, where I had no idea that I was going to think in terms of an ending. And I thought, oh, I might have found a way to end this story. And I can even tell the ending now and continue to do stories because there are just other stories around that.
Hmm.
But it's interesting to know. And I think it was Alan Moore that said, once a character has an ending, they can become a legend. And I think he was applying that to Tarzan and Sherlock Holmes.
Hmm.
And even though other writers come in and tell more stories, the an original author uh, only wrote so many stories and maybe even ended that
Yeah.
character and killed them or something, you know? I thought that was interesting. But just to wrap up the initial question, which is the idea of putting a lot of text into a digital
Yeah,
format,
right. That part.
like, is that difficult? Do you read long things on, do you do the Kindle thing or whatever
I
and
don't
all
read
that?
Kindles, but I do. I for the longest time was not against like e-readers or reading books digitally, but I just didn't find it. There's something about holding a book. I'm 52. You know what I mean? Like I'm never gonna change that much of it. And I'm writing in books mostly before I go to type it. So like I'm always looking at things long form anyway. Um, I don't know if whenever I put these books out, if somebody's going to be more likely to read it digitally than they are to read it physically. But I know people read digital books every day.
Yep.
And like I'm one of those. I work at Target in the book section, so I know people are coming to buy books, and I know people are like, "Oh, I downloaded it." You know what I mean? Like I hear, what people are saying. So I know that neither one is going away anytime soon, um, unless there's like some kind of crazy book ban, which could happen. Like in book burnings and stuff. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I live in Florida. It's happening already.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, I started using an e-reader in 2011, when I was living in Brazil and I couldn't find books in English, paper books, print books. So I was like, that became when I had come to the States to visit family, I bought an e-reader, and it was like life changing. And now I got rid of most of my paper printed books that are not art or comics. So like anything with pictures or like really dope ass design, I'll buy those books in print.
Because you want to look at them,
I
more.
mean, that's kind of the point. Like
Yeah.
that like that's the interesting part to me about print, and that's where like I've gone with like being a publisher and stuff is like this is the part that's cool to me, you know? And so like for just to do like a novel that's like just made of text. I mean, I think an ebook is very it's not that different of an experience.
No, not at all.
Really used to it.
And
But
I mean, I don't even read on a iPad or anything big. I'll read off of my phone. Like it doesn't
mhm.
bother me, like I mean, I'm blessed so far with, being nearsighted, sure, but and having to wear bifocals, but at the same time, you know, I can still read off my phone. So I'll read that small for as long as I can, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
To wrap up the other thing I brought up, which I didn't even get to, where I wanted to ask a question. And I don't know if this happens to you, Dan.
Uh-oh.
But
Is this about constipation?
it's emotional constipation.
Oh, okay.
No, it's about Instagram.
Hmm.
And me and Vito, and I have this with about 4 or 5 other friends.
Mhm.
I feel like we have sparked a cold war with each other where we attack each other nightly. And I do mean attack, because there's some
How do you
things
attack each other?
that I see and hear that I never would have seen or heard because of Vito, and hopefully vice versa.
Oh
And
yeah,
I do this
but
with Peter Rostovsky. I do it with Chris Miskevich.
Hmm.
I think the war is not so much in content, but in the barrage.
It's a barrage.
Like I'll wake up and I'll see like 6 things from Dean, and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta
So,
catch up.
to explain further,
On
on Instagram, I'll get a message. And really what it is that Vito has shared something with me, a video or whatever, a post. And I'll get like 4 or 5 of those. And then I'll try to hit him back, with a bunch or 1 or 2, and maybe there'll be comments. And that's actually the funniest thing. Vito, when you comment, sometimes I laugh harder at your comment to what you've just seen.
It's like
It's like we're hurtling snuff films at each other. Like, not really, but they are like mini bombs. They're just like, and I'll be sitting at 2 a.m. dying laughing out loud, and my cats are looking at me. I'm hoping I'm not waking up Jen because of what he's just sent me.
What was that website when I used to come draw in your studio?
Ogrish.
Ogrish.
I would
And
say
it became rotten.com.
Right,
Yeah.
right. That's like
awful.
OG blogosphere days. But you would send me a link or just like come here, look at this, and I'd come and look at the screen, and
yeah,
instantly it was just like, okay,
yeah,
I will, that will be with me till the day I die.
And the reason why I say Cold War, it's like so we traumatize each other every night, right? But we never talk about it whenever we speak to each other. It's like it's unspoken.
We've tried, like, if you might remember, I tried showing a video on here of something, and I did show it, like it's in one of the earlier episodes, but it's you were like, don't show the rest of it, don't show the entire thread, please do not show. And I'm
Right.
like, no.
That account with the testicles hanging over the landscape.
Well, not that account, but that is on Instagram. So Instagram is weaponized, or we're weaponizing Instagram, and it's insane. And I love it. And in fact, you're reminding me when you said the studio. I sometimes would take a picture of me on the toilet, right, at the studio, right, and then I knew if there were 6 of us were hanging out, I would time it so that I would text everyone this picture of me on the toilet, right? And as I'm walking through the door, everyone's phones are dinging. And they all look at the picture of me on the toilet and they look at me like, Dean, like, fuck you, kind of a thing.
Yeah, everybody's phone dinging at once is such narrative gold.
It truly
I'm doing
is.
that in the spoiler in the next Red Light Properties chapter.
Oh,
I have
sweet.
Like everybody's phone dings at the same time.
That's great. That's great.
But there's no toilets.
But there's no toilets. The thing I hated in that studio, Deep Six, it was called at the time.
No, this was at your house.
That was at
Yeah. When
Wait.
I was on the spare desk at your house.
Oh, I did that to you, or what do you
Not
mean?
dinging all that, but like when we would, we were looking at a
Oh,
bridge.
okay. Oh, yeah, that was it. No, but
That
I'm
was a long
saying
time ago.
when I was in a studio space and,
Mm.
and sending a stupid
Right,
picture to
right,
everybody.
right.
But there was also times where you'd hear, it was the first time you're hearing dings, like, oh, there's messages. But you hear one phone go off over on that side of the room. And on this side of the room, like a minute later, was another ding. And you realize they're like passing messages in front of us, like, and who are they talking about? What are they saying? Kind of thing.
Right.
Very junior high school. So anyway, I just wanted to bring up the fact that we never acknowledged to each other this Cold War we're having.
It's it, it'd be easy to do, but
Is it just like memes or clips?
it
Yeah.
could be anything really. Like sometimes it's the thing I send to Dean the most because Michelle loves these things and I send them to her at the same time are people falling down or tripping or like whatever, like just getting hurt basically.
Yeah.
So I send those to Dean and Dean goes, why are you sending me all this trauma?
Yeah.
And then like I'll send him like something of somebody farting, like
Oh, that's some of my favorites.
Any video that combines farts and fire, I'm fucking there for that.
I'm gonna remember that. I have you on Instagram.
Oh.
Or farts with infrared photography, like thermal.
Oh, come on.
Where you can see when somebody walks by and it's like the whole color shifts.
I enjoy the videos.
So
you ever see the videos where it's not so much the video, but it's the comment section, and they basically weaponize the comment section, so that's where the comedy is. Like, there was this girl who was like, "Let's try cooking something that's not Italian," and she's got a really big mouth, and they're like, she uses the whole stick of lipstick, like, and they emphasize whole. Because like her mouth is
so mean.
You mean when they do comments? That cracks me up too.
Yeah.
You have access to stuff that I have no idea where you find that
Our
stuff.
algorithms are totally like
they're totally different,
but they're not.
Yeah. But they're not. It's weird, and thank God. All right, so we're going to do a couple of verses, and I'll explain to Dan as well. Our regular.
I didn't get vetoed.
No.
Okay.
No, we're going to include him, right?
Yeah,
in fact, the first one I have lined up, which I don't want to show, is that really? Yeah, the first one, it's pretty interesting. It's you guys are the next two. All right, so before we do that, I want to acknowledge that today is was the birth of Harvey Picar. It's his birthday, Harvey Picar. And you were talking about being invited to the dance of comics or entering the dance. It wasn't Harvey Picar that brought me to the dance or to the door, but because I came on my own and I was already doing stuff in independent comics. But I feel like working with him on The Quitter put me on the map. Because I think that's the first time that like I had been acknowledged a little bit here and there, which is cool and quote validated somewhat. But really working on that project, like I entered a different realm in a way, with working on The Quitter with Harvey Picar. So I want to acknowledge that. Thank you, Harvey. Rest in peace. And Joyce too. Joyce Brabner also is no longer with us.
Do you remember when you were working? Sorry, I don't mean to.
No, that's it.
When you were working with Harvey and Harvey came to SPX, and I was at your studio a lot, drawing and stuff, and you were like, you should draw a little Picar comic and give it to him. And I did, and he loved it. And he gave me his phone number, and he's like, "Yeah, we should do it." So he gave me his number. And I called him, and he was having like a panic attack or something. And he was like, "What the hell, kid? I'm not a freaking factory." And he hung up on me.
No,
and I never worked.
That was it. So, and the thing is, you're right. That had everything to do with him. Had nothing to do with you.
But like, what? I'm not gonna call him back next week and be like, "Hey, factory, like,
except
let me take another shot." Like, but, I wasn't gonna do that.
No, but you should have. And I'll tell you why. And I understand why you didn't. You should have, because you remember my origin story with Harvey. So briefly, me and Josh Neufeld were doing Keyhole.
Right.
And Josh was leaning more toward nonfiction and memoir type comics, and I run the gamut. I'm all over the place. And he had sent some artwork to Harvey, and Harvey hired him. And we used to have a friendly fire type thing between me and Joshua. I'm like, well, I'm the better artist. Like, I should be drawing Harvey or whatever the hell you draw. I should be the first guy they call, kind of thing. And so I sent Harvey a bunch of work and he never responded. I was like, what the hell, man? And then I did a comic about it in Keyhole called American Dilemma, where I explained how I was sending work, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And like, what the hell? Why isn't he? And it was like autobio stuff. And then we published it and we sent him the comic and I heard nothing again. And I'm like, why does he hate me? You know, with his silence kind of thing. And then eventually a guy named Harvey Picard called me up. And the whole time I thought, somebody's pranking. Is this Josh? Like, is somebody pranking me? And finally he just kept saying, you know, don't you, you know, he said, do you not want to do this? I was like, yeah, I do. But are you really Harvey Picard? And he's like, well, don't you want to make some bread? And I thought, oh, now someone's just pulling the wool right over my eyes here. But he finally said, he told me to fuck off and he hung up the phone. And I'm like, oh, that might have been Harvey then, you know? So I called up Josh and I made sure that he wasn't pranking me or who could be pranking me. He's like, what did he say? And I mentioned the line about, don't you want to make bread? And he was offering me like a 1-page gig. He's like, that was Harvey.
Yeah.
So he gave me the phone number.
The use of bread is like jazz age.
Yeah, totally.
So that's kind of the tell.
It's the tell, but also that's the thing you would parody. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So anyway, I call up Harvey. I apologize. We talked it out. And he said, well, what do I got to do to prove to you that I'm really me? And I said, give me that story. And he did. And that was the beginning of that relationship. So you could have maybe called him back a couple of days later. He could have been a factory for you. Too late, man. It is. It's a bummer.
Factory. I was like, oh. I was just, I mean, we hadn't even done Activate yet.
Right.
It was like, I was nothing.
Right.
But I did this 1-page comic with of him with like a story I made up.
I would love to see that because I don't remember it, but I will say this. He championed working with new artists, you know.
He dug what I gave him too.
And I believe that, you know. So anyway. All right, so we're going to do not too many of these because we're going to wrap this up in about 20 minutes, let's say, okay? But we'll get a few of these out of here. So mostly, Dan, what we've been doing is what's called comics creator versus, where we pick 2 creators and we talk about them and we debate who's your favorite over the 2, even though sometimes it's impossible because they're both so great. And that's just to get the discussion going. Okay. But you're basically kind of like ultimately picking one over the other for the various reasons. And so we'll try to keep it, you know, simple between each other, but also express ourselves. So we've been doing a lot of artists, but I wanted to veer into writers for a little while. And so the first one I have is Grant Morrison versus Neil Gaiman.
Okay. All right. That's
And let's remove the fact that Neil Gaiman is
we're not like
cancel culture town right
now
because
about that at this point,
we all know about that. I'm talking about the work. Work. Okay, I already know my answer is, but I'm curious to know your answer.
Is the idea to pick a winner, like who you prefer and why?
Who you prefer and why?
It's almost like,
and sometimes it's impossible to answer.
It's almost like if you had to pick one of their bibliography and that was all you got to read instead of the other ones,
and almost erasing the other one.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
in a way,
easy. Grant Morrison, no question about it. Like, not even a nanosecond to even consider that. I always felt Neil Gaiman's stuff was very college English major vibe more than it. I mean, he did a lot, and there's a lot of. I think he is a good writer, but he's not my writer.
Right. And we also need to give context because we can never assume, you know, Neil Gaiman, famous for writing Sandman, famous for writing novels.
Miracle Man as well. Before
he wrote Miracle Man?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But Neil Gaiman is like a writer. And Grant Morrison is a lot more than that.
He's a real conceptualist.
He is. He's also an excellent writer. He's a thinker.
Yeah.
He's a like fucker with things with like punk rock energy.
Yeah.
Let's give a list. Let's list some of the stuff.
Well, the
Doom
thing that
Patrol, Animal Man, The Invisibles is the jam if you're going to ever read anything of his. And then like there's, I know he did a lot of Batman comics I never read.
He made me, right. He made me understand the concept in comics form of Superman when he did All-Star Superman with Frank Quitely.
Absolutely one of my
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Do you know the thing that made me switch to it was never Grant versus Neil, it was always Grant versus Alan Moore, but the thing that made me switch to Grant over Alan Moore was Flex Mentalo.
Yeah, I love that book so much.
That book, there's so much meta textual everything going on in that book. And
I have an original page in my house from that.
That's Frank, isn't it? Frank Quitely? Yeah. I read that book at the exact right time to kind of get it. You know what I mean? Because I think, if I would have read it when it came out, I probably would have just been like, I don't get what's going on here. But there are scenes that just absolutely, there's a big splash page of all these heroes almost spilling out of the main character's brain. It's such an amazing.
But Flex Mentalo is an idea in 4 issues that he does the entire multiversity about.
Yeah.
And he does the entire hyper crisis and the final crisis and all these big sprawling metatextual hyper ideas that he plays with in superheroes specific to a DC universe. He did it in 4 tight issues.
Yeah, that's
already in Flex Mentalo. So if you're going to read all those other sprawling works, you don't need to. You just need to read Flex Mentalo.
Yeah, I would agree.
And actually, Flex Mentalo, he does a rough cut or a rough version of those ideas from Flex Mentalo within Animal Man towards the end of his run, where the crisis on Infinite Earths sort of starts to unravel and come back into the post-crisis DCU, and it's like you can't kill ideas. And that's the first time that he plays with that, and then he takes that crystal and he really, really refines it in 4 issues with Flip.
I think that's his overall theme is you can't kill an idea. I think that's something that speaks to all of his work. There's another good one that I'll throw out called "Kill Your Boyfriend."
That's a good one.
No, he didn't do that.
Yes, he did.
Oh, he did?
He wrote it. Philip Baum drew it.
Oh, because I'm thinking of the other great writer whose name escapes me right now that did a lot of Vertigo miniseries, and I feel like he's so underrated and he's always performs greatly.
Peter Milligan.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely, yeah.
Peter Milligan.
So, God, I don't think I have him on.
So I listened to a Grant Morrison podcast a couple weeks ago in the car that was tremendous, and I don't remember the name of the podcast, but it was like a 2-hour conversation that was riveting, and it got so far. It goes into superheroes, and then it goes down into the heart of ideas themselves. Really, really good talk. I will shoot it to you, Vito.
Yeah,
you can put it in the show notes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I just can't remember the name right now, but it's such a good talk.
Also, Grant Morrison, I mean, again, his collaborations with Frank Quitely alone, We Three.
Yeah,
that's great.
Come on, and then I liked his Batman collaborations with Frank Quitely and obviously also Superman. And then, you know what? I never grasped The Invisibles, and I need to, because everyone who's a Grant Morrison fan says it's one of the best.
I don't think I ever finished it, but I remember enjoying it a lot. I didn't really care for The Filth, which was with Chris Weston, and I never really got Sea Guy.
Sea Guy's nuts.
Yeah, I couldn't get it. I was. It just seemed so obtuse to me. And Cameron Stewart art I love, but I could not, grasp it.
Because so I know there's a way to read stuff like that that's kind of like reading William Burroughs. I don't know if you have read William Burroughs. So I tried to read Burroughs in my 20s or my teens even, and I was I'm 80 pages in, and it's every goddamn page is a struggle, and I don't know if this is a novel. I don't know what this is, And I really tried. I tried a couple times, especially after the Naked Lunch movie came out. I'm like, why don't I understand it? But anyway, you have to kind of let go of uh, things making sense and just
Yeah.
let it flow. And then like everything starts to come together.
Mm.
And that's really interesting. And I feel like some of Grant's comics and other people's function that way too.
Hmm.
When they really like it might look normal, something like Doom Patrol
You
will
know,
look like a superhero comic, but it's
but
not at
it's
all.
not. And you know,
No,
you're
no.
reminding me of you're actually. I think about what I like about James Gunn, and I think he does that. I think he just will present ideas, and like you're like, wait, where did this just come from?
Mhm.
And just let it happen,
Mhm.
and it will flow because there's a reason, you know.
The
Yeah.
other the other book I want to bring up for Grant is Seven Soldiers of Victory, which I think is one of the most ambitious things that he's done in the superhero realm. Just being able to tell a story, seven different stories, the whole story. It's so hard to explain to people that have
Yeah.
never read it, but it's so easy to get into and so easy to follow once you're in it.
When the structure of that clicks,
Yeah, yeah.
you're like, okay, this is genius. But you have to speak superhero in order to engage with it and understand it.
How much um, of comics in general is structure? Do you think? Like like
I
how
mean,
much really?
define comics.
Eh, good point. I mean, the other thing is define structure. Like, is it
Yeah, right.
on
Yeah.
the page? Is it the stuff that's going on in the gutters? It's it's hard to really, I guess, to define both of those things. And stuff like Pax Americana just totally breaks a little bit of like a page layout structure just to keep this infinity number 8 going throughout. Like it's a really elegant thing. And the
There's like
funny thing is,
there's
when you think elegant, you think Gaiman, but I think that Pax Americana is one of the most elegant,
and
structured and put
and I
together.
know I shit on Neil Gaiman before, like just like, oh, there's no question. But Neil Gaiman has written, and yeah, he turned out to be like a full-on villain of a
Mhm.
human. But but there were issues of Sandman that I still think about all the time.
Dream of a Thousand Cats. I think about like
That's my number one favorite
yeah,
one.
yeah.
And I love the episode where you meet Death, the first
Mhm.
issue you meet Death. And I there's DNA of that in Red Light Properties. Like I think about that. I mean I'm doing a story right now, and there's this moment when Death like reaches into a baby carriage and
Mhm.
picks up the baby
Yeah,
and holds it, and the baby or a toddler, whatever, turns to Death, and it was like, "Is that all I get?" And Death says, "You get what everybody gets. You got a life." And I'm
yeah.
like, "That's fucking so good."
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so,
I find Gaiman to be like extremely erudite and very sophisticated. And it's not that I don't find Grant to be the same. It's just that Grant uses the language that I'm familiar with more
mm,
so than Gaiman. Like Gaiman, I wouldn't say that he speaks above me, but I do have to climb into the upper reaches of my mental capacity to deal with some of the things that he's throwing, and they're not necessarily high concept or great concept, like things that I wouldn't catch, or understand. Whereas with Grant, I feel like he does throw high concepts at you, but he does it in such a way that like there's a ladder progression that he brings
mm,
you along with it. Maybe I'm
mhm.
maybe I'm projecting, because I do
Yeah.
enjoy
I
Grant's.
mean, I think that Gaiman is literary
Mm,
and Grant's stuff is conceptual.
it's a
And
good way.
I think that does I think Grant's work has more force and power to it.
Mm,
And I think that Gaiman is a writer.
yeah,
And in a way, because we always bring up Jack Kirby, like we always talk about the artists that are like Jack Kirby, but we don't always talk about the writers that are like Jack Kirby.
Mhm.
And I
mm,
feel like Grant Morrison is like an acolyte,
I could see that.
I could see that
you know?
because he's digging into kind of like, what's the phrase I'm looking, like ur myth, like
Mm,
primordial myth,
mm,
you know,
mm,
and archetypes,
mm,
you know, like very consciously. It's not
Like
just
Joseph Campbell, in a sense.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And God particles.
Right, yeah, that's who.
Have either of you ever read Super Gods?
No.
His
No.
novel? It's amazing. Like it's. I feel like it's almost a textbook for comic book writers, superhero
Right.
comic book writers.
Right.
Mm.
No, I've been meaning to. We're gonna wrap this up in 10. I'd like to do two more, and it would give us three that we did this time.
I want to throw out two things before we close
Yes.
up.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, you mean later? Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess we're all in agreement with Grant Morrison.
Yes.
So the next one is kind of similar.
Mm.
Steve Englehart
Mm.
versus Steve Gerber.
Okay, this is a good one. Steve Englehart, probably best known for his Avengers in the '70s, run.
And Batman with Marshall Rogers.
Right.
Batman
right.
with Marshall Rogers. I think he also did.
Didn't he write like all those like Hugo Strange?
Yes.
Like Batman, like Hugo Strange
Dark
70s Batman.
The Dark Detective run is what they call it.
Right.
Hugo
When
Strange, Rupert
Bruce Wayne
Thor.
had an apartment in the city, and
Yes.
yeah, that was like the cooler Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
And then Gerber, probably best known for creating Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck, and then
The Defenders.
when he wrote the Defenders, what is happening? Like there's so I'm not an expert in either writer's oeuvre, but we're talking about the sensibilities, and I feel like Gerber was having more fun and throwing more stuff at the wall.
Probably less mechanical, yeah.
Yeah. Although Englehart probably has more classic stories under his belt, if that makes sense.
The thing that I always gravitated towards with Englehart was that there was a certain, as cosmic as he could get, there was still a street level understanding of what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if that like washes over everybody and like you can really describe it like that, but even when he was doing stuff like the Korvac saga, like it still had this kind of emotional resonance that didn't have to be in space. It just happened to be in space, and like you still felt like it was down to earth in a sense. Whereas with Gerber, I don't think he ever, even when he did cosmic stuff, I don't think it was ever a question that it was down to earth. You know what I mean? Like it was very not
human.
Human, yeah.
Very human. It's funny because I believe, and when we had Jonathan Ames on the show, and I think we talked about this, I know he's cited this to me several times, that the Korvac saga is what made him almost quit reading comics because he loved it so much, and it was so brutal and terrifying, and all the Avengers are dying and dead. Yeah. And then I forget how it happens, but like somebody basically snaps their fingers or undoes it all, and he went, "Wait, what? You could just what?" Like, not that he wanted the Avengers dead, but it was just this journey that he was this drama, you know, like. And then it just did the comic book thing of like, oh, we can do this, do a little bit of this, do a little of that, and now they're back to normal kind of thing, you know?
I think, for me, I've probably read more Steve Englehart than I have Gerber.
Same.
And I wouldn't dismiss Gerber's influence.
Did he do Man Thing, Gerber?
I feel like he might have. Like, I don't know the exact issues, but I feel like he should have, because there's a lot of crossover between
right.
Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck first appeared in a Man Thing issue.
Yeah.
Right.
But I would probably Englehart just based on the fact that I've probably been exposed to more of his work.
I would say I love Englehart, but I think if I read more Gerber, it would be Gerber. Because of everything we just said, and also I have read his Defenders, and I was like, wow, this is what you do with the Defenders? Okay, that's what you do with the Defenders. And then, the idea behind Howard the Duck, Man Thing, I mean, come on, it's just like such a weird veer of oeuvre of comics. And what's your feeling?
Oh, Gerber.
Gerber
was a writer you were aware of as you're reading them.
That's a good point.
He's present in the work. He's not just in service of the IP. And it's like craftsman versus artist. And Gerber is an artist. Yeah. And Gerber had a temper and ego, and he got freaky with comics. in a way that I don't think anybody had even seen back then, in the States. Um, like there was one issue that of Howard the Duck that didn't have comics. It just had like text and illustrations. And there was stuff where he was like too stoned and too tired to like write a script.
It's great.
So he just kind of like barfed out some stuff and then somebody drew around it. It was really interesting stuff. I don't know. I've always been a big Gerber fan.
All right, so one for Englehart, two for Gerber on that one.
Yeah.
And then if we're going to do one more,
Yeah.
and then I know where to start next time. Okay. I'm going to end on Robert Kirkman versus Tim Seeley. And I was trying to figure out what would be a good Robert Kirkman kind of contemporary.
Yeah, Tim Seeley's a good.
I think it's a good contemporary.
Tim
And
Seeley,
I've read more Robert Kirkman than I have Tim Seeley, to be honest.
What did Tim Seeley write? I
he
don't know.
created Hack Slash. He's done a ton of like IP, like G.I. Joe, stuff like that.
And he's created his own IP. And in fact, one of them's a TV show right now. And I forget the name of the show and what comic it's based on.
The Mike
he does
Norton,
horror.
Yeah, it's the Mike Norton book.
Right. It's like a one-word title, I think.
Yeah, I can see the covers of it. Revival.
And he's also did a series recently that he ended earlier this year, I believe, after like 15, 20 issues, like The Local or Local Man or something like that.
Local Hero or something. Yeah.
Local Hero, something like that.
I forgot
and
that.
He's really good. He's a good writer and good ideas. Robert Kirkman, famously known for The Walking Dead, Invincible. He's also written some new comic ideas.
He created Marvel Zombies, which was just on Disney Plus.
He was the creator of Marvel Zombies.
He and Charlie Adlard, I think. I think it was the Walking Dead team. Yeah,
he's done some Marvel and DC comics. They're also the kind of writers that in the vein of Chris Claremont, could write soap operas for days. Like constant, like a bunch of characters who all have little arcs.
Yeah.
And then, in The Walking Dead, you either get bit or somebody kills you, kind of a thing. And with Tim Seeley, he also, I think, had like characters, long running characters, It's hard for me. I don't know what you guys feel, or if you've read the material. Have you read Walking Dead?
I read Walking Dead. Yeah, I worked on The Walking Dead.
Oh, that's right.
For a long time.
Can you say a little bit about that?
I was working at AMC Studio Digital Department, so I did a bunch of different Walking Dead related project video games and second screen applications, and so I needed to know. I needed to like hold the Skybound comics continuity in my head, and also the TV shows and all the spin-offs continuity at the same time in order to. So I read a lot of the comics. I'm not going to answer this question though, because I don't know enough about Tim Seeley's work to speak to this. Yeah, so I'm going to sit this one out.
I mean, I like Tim a lot. I've read a lot of his stuff. I believe he's based out of Chicago, and that's why, you usually see Tim Seeley and Mike Norton together because they're both Chicago guys. Which isn't a slight, it's just, just a little tidbit that I thought was interesting. But I feel like the thing that probably, I think, speaks better to Kirkman than anything is that he could have very easily just been the Walking Dead guy or the zombie guy. And you look at him and he's got Skybound now, which is an entire thing, it's an entire publishing concern and, like a TV thing. He's got Invincible on Amazon.
Video games too.
Yeah, and I think this is the guy who wrote Battle Pope. Do you know what I mean? Battle Pope was he tried putting that out at least twice, maybe even 3 times. And it just didn't stick. Walking Dead just caught something. It lightning in a bottle.
And not right away either.
Not right away. Have you ever heard the Mark Maron interview with Kirkman? And Kirkman talks about maxing out 18 credit cards and is shivering on the floor, about to vomit because he doesn't know if this is going to hit or not after so many issues have been published. And then I guess that's when he got the call to make it into a TV show or something,
Well,
and then it blew up.
the thing that
Like
changed The Walking Dead's trajectory was the trade paperback and book market.
right,
Once they were collected,
right,
that thing's been collected in like 7 different ways,
sure,
not just like printings, but like
right,
in an omnibus, in a hardcover omnibus, and like it's just been
right,
it prints money, like
yeah,
so I think, like I said, he could have very easily just been the zombie guy, but I think
right.
he's been able to invent so many different uh, paths to create comics and to make comics viable. I think that,
And became like the CEO of Image or something,
yeah, at one point,
became
yeah,
something. And he champions comics. I've met both him and Tim. They're both really nice.
yeah, they're
I've had
great.
more interactions with Robert. Robert came up to me at a New York Comic Con, I think when uh maybe when Webtoon was announcing the Red Hook or
Mhm.
something. And he came up to me and he talked to me about that, like how eager he was to check it out. And I was like, what? The Walking Dead guys like interested in what I'm doing,
Right.
and every time I've seen him, super nice,
Yeah.
cool guy. And so yeah, I'm gonna go with Kirkman on this.
Yeah,
I haven't read as much Seeley like Dan mentioned that he
yeah, I've read
hasn't.
I've read a bunch of it, especially Revival. Revival's great. Like
Yeah,
it's very creepy, and it's very, and like I don't want to spend too much time talking about Mike Norton because we're talking about
right,
Tim, but
right.
the things that like you would expect Mike Norton's a great superhero artist, and the
Yep.
things that
Oh, he's a great guy too. Mike Norton's
yeah,
great.
Tim Seeley's making him draw like these kind of vile things,
Hmm.
it's just like, wow, like he's as a writer, you always want to write to an artist's strength if you're not drawing it yourself.
Yep.
And
Mm.
no one, I don't think, from as long as I've known Mike, like I don't think I would have ever thought of him as a horror artist. Like he was
Oh no, totally.
clearly, and so you have to think that Tim got that out of him, and then and as a writer, that's something you always want to inspire the artist that you're working with.
Well,
And
that's exactly what it is. You're talking about is when a writer inspires. I love it when I have drawn things I never knew I could draw or would have thought of drawing because of a collaboration.
yeah,
So like that's what's great about those kind of relationships,
and I think the like I said, bringing back the Chicago thing, Tim being such a close friend to the guys that he works with, for the most part, probably is to his benefit.
Yeah,
Whereas Kirkman, started off with Tony Moore and then went with Charlie Adler, and my goodness, created a juggernaut. Like I don't
hmm,
think it speaks to the strength of both men as creators and writers that they've
absolutely,
inspired this stuff. But I would have to
absolutely,
agree with with Kirkman, with
right.
slight on Tim, because I think Tim's best work is still ahead of him though.
Oh, absolutely,
I
absolutely.
think he's just basically scratching the surface, whereas Kirkman has his Mount Rushmore,
Hmm.
it's like his Everest, I should say, not like
Mm,
like I think he's got his Everest, and like then he's got like his Mount St. Helens, with
hmm.
Invincible, because Everest is definitely Walking Dead. And I think that Tim hasn't gotten that opportunity yet. I think he's on the cusp of it.
And the only thing we've ever gotten, the three of us, is a Mount Sinai.
As a Mount Sinai. I love
Jupiter.
it.
No, what do you mean? No, no. What was that? I mistook what was Mount Rushmore
Mount Rushmore, yeah.
many episodes ago, and I kept saying Mount Sinai.
Oh, okay.
And because comics is mostly thanks to Jewish creators, we've now said that comics creators have a Mount Sinai.
Ah,
That's right.
so it was a
So
different.
Oh, okay.
let me throw these at you. Our good buddy Gary Challoner over in Australia or over in Tasmania, I can't remember now. We had asked last week, who would we be versus? Like if you had to put somebody against Dean and somebody
Right.
against Vito, who would that be? So he suggested Dean Haspiel versus Paul Grist, which I think is a
Paul
great choice.
Grist. Paul Grist is awesome. I I'm not even going to say what he just put down. He had an alternative thought, which we won't
No, we're not
bring
gonna
up.
do
But Paul Grist is. I've actually met him. I forget the name of his comics right now, but he's awesome.
Zach Staff was one of
That's right.
And then the detective one, I can't
All
remember.
right, so I would agree with that more had I arrived at that style I covet for my future. You're talking about like what's ahead of me. I feel like hopefully what will be ahead of me is that kind of like style that like is a reduction, a crystallization of whatever the hell I draw now, and then I could see maybe a Paul Grist type, battle, as it were. What
Right.
was it with you? What was
He
your?
said Vito Delsante versus Christopher Mills. Christopher Mills is a really good friend of mine.
Oh, I know Chris
Another writer.
Mills.
He's written a lot of pulp type things. One of the greatest things I've ever read as being an editor at Action Lab was his book Gravedigger, which is
Mm,
basically like a Parker novel, like we were talking
hmm
about
hmm
last night on Word Balloon with John.
Right.
Talking about the Parker Play Dirty.
Play
Uh,
Dirty. Uh,
Gravedigger,
Shane Black. Yeah.
yeah, Gravedigger looks like a Parker novel with Lee Marvin. Like it's amazing. It's a
Oh,
fantastic
cool.
book, and I highly recommend it to everybody.
That's
Chris
cool.
is going through a hard time health wise right now. Uh,
Oh.
so like if you can buy any of his books, like go buy them, because every little bit helps. Talking about hospice care at this point, which is
Oh
Oh my God.
no.
end of life type of thing. He's very open about it on.
Oh no. How old is he?
I don't think he's much older than us. I think he might be 60, 61.
Oh man.
Mm.
But like he's a great guy. I almost and I said to Chris on his wall, I said, because he was saying something like, I've never been the successful writer, like in this post.
Right.
And I wrote to him, I was like, I've never been much of a successful writer either, but I've always admired you. You know what I mean?
hmm
Like
hmm
so in that
hmm
competition, Chris gets it, and not just
Yeah.
because of what he's going through, but like I
Right.
I love his imagination. He has these kind of 70s pastiche like world's greatest comics almost, where he's got like a Conan the Barbarian character named From. He's
Mm.
got the Black Owl, which was a golden age public domain hero. Then he's turned into like a 70s kind of Blue Beetle, like
Mm.
Morris Collins type of thing.
hmm
Like he's a very imaginative guy. I'm gonna miss him. And I think, if I had a chance to uh, read more of his books as opposed to write more of my own, I'd probably read more of
hmm
his. Like, is there something?
Wow. Well, pour out a little liquor to Christopher Mills. And by the way, Paul Grist would win that battle with me. Just I don't know we'll find the right verses, but I appreciate Gary Challoner for
Yeah, keep
submitting
it
that
coming.
idea.
We'll debate them on here. Dan, since you're here, why don't you tell everybody where they can sign up for your newsletter, where they can find Red Light Properties, all that stuff.
If you go to redlightproperties.com, that's probably the easiest thing. The book is available right there, and then it's real easy from there to find the newsletter. Rather than spout off a bunch of different URLs, just go to redlightproperties.com.
Yeah, and
That's the best thing to do.
I'll
Yeah,
put them all
cool.
in the
Thank you.
show notes as well.
Yeah.
I also want to make sure that everybody is checking out Dean's Kickstarter for
Oh,
Anthony
thank you.
Potter, as well as Ray Anthony Height's uh, Midnight Tiger Evo Kickstarter, which is also running. I think it's got maybe 2 weeks left, so
Mm.
definitely check it out and definitely back it if you can. I also want to give a shout out to someone who I wish I could meet, and I probably never will, but Dolly Parton. I hope she gets better soon.
Oh,
What
she
happened to
ill?
Dolly Parton?
She's doing fine. Like I think that people were making it a bigger deal, but like we were thinking about her today. Like Michelle and I were talking about her, and it's just like what, she's on my mind. I'm going to say something. Like, hey, Dolly Parton, if you get this, if anybody knows Dolly Parton, they can send her a podcast. Send her this one.
She
Although,
helped the COVID vaccine get made.
mm,
She did.
She did
Wow.
with her own money.
yeah,
Wow.
It's true.
That's
she's a
that's wild.
remarkable person. Like, I mean,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
and
And
like,
also like just a ball of positivity and love
hmm
mm,
and
she's
grace. She's an amazing person. Yeah.
what I tell everybody is if there was a because I identify as Christian, in a general sense, I guess, to be like Christ, I guess. And Dean and I have talked about religion on here as well, so it's not a mystery. But I've always said that if there was one Christian I would, work to emulate, it would be her.
Hmm.
She
hmm
is the definition of love and grace. loving your fellow man. She so much for the gay community. You know, like she's the way you do it. You know what I mean? So like I want to keep her
Absolutely.
as long as we can.
Yep. All right. Well, on that note, we're going to go grab dinner with Whitney Matheson.
Oh, we got to get Whitney on here like properly.
Oh, absolutely. Soon.
And
Soon.
enjoy New York Comic Con, fellas. I
Thank you.
expect to hear about it next week. If not, we'll wait till Baltimore and we can get it all in the same.
Oh, we'll figure. We'll talk
Are
after
you
the
coming
week.
to Baltimore?
What's that?
Are you going to be at Baltimore?
I'm not this year. I had to
Yeah,
buy a car instead.
yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Vito. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
guys.
Again, hopefully, maybe you'll be here next week since you're still
Possibly.
around. Unless he's just out of the studio at that point. But everyone have a good night. We'll see you next week. Yay, yay.
Yay, yay.
Come on, Dan.
What?
Do it.
Do what? What am I doing?
That's perfect.
I didn't get the memo.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.